Hey everyone, it is Atheist Ranger here, and I'm doing a little something different with my video response this time. I have a kind of a cohort with me, the lovely Heretic woman. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. Good to
Yeah,
be here.
Heretic woman just came back from camping, and now she has to deal with this mess.
Yes, well, it was heathen camping, so it's at least I'm in
Okay,
the right mindset.
I was about to say, well, what a crappy friend am I? Anyway,
Nah.
well, today we're gonna respond to Jet Genesis Apologetics, and boy, do they fail on common ancestry, and that's coming from me.
uh, yeah. I'm like, what planet did you find these people on? Because I don't think they came from this one.
Well, I mean, apparently there's or it says complete debunk evolution series, and it's like 12 episodes.
Ugh, I couldn't stand those people for more than one. One was enough.
I may make more in the future.
Okay.
Is it just me, or does the evolutionary tree seem more like an orchard?
No,
And what the fuck is she wearing?
look like a fucking fedora, like a big ass fucking fedora.
Yeah.
I
And
got
did
this.
you notice she has crosses all over her shirt?
Oh, I noticed that. I'm like, oh, come on, seriously.
And I'm sorry, that getup is straight out of like 1986.
No offense to 1986.
Yeah, exactly.
Hard time figuring out where to put everything. Now, I could put this lipstick here, or no. But
I'll handle this.
No,
we
my God,
could
shut
or-
up. Sorry.
Okay, and you,
organization.
by the way, half of that shit is not makeup. Nail
No.
polish is nail polish. It's not makeup, people.
Yeah.
My little sister asked me to organize all her little tiny plastic animals. Took me 2 days.
Organizing animals. It's like Carl Linnaeus.
Who's that?
Yeah, he was the first guy to classify animals.
Oh, yeah, I remember him now. His motto was, God created, Linnaeus ordered.
Yeah,
Okay. Just to throw a little indoor quote there. Here's another quote from Carl Linnaeus that is kind of throw a stick in the mud to what she said.
Okay.
Quote, in natural science, the principle of truth ought to be confirmed by observation. So this guy fully believed in the scientific method. I do not believe that Carl Linnaeus was at all a young Earth creationist.
I'm thinking not.
No, I mean from what little I read about him, and in response to this video, from what little I read about him, he was at the he would be considered today maybe like a theistic evolutionist.
Right. And a lot of these guys they clung to religion because there wasn't enough science there to show that things are possible without God. Like Thomas Paine, I've always said if he knew about something like evolution and some of the scientific theories out today, I'm sure he would be an atheist. And a lot of these guys, maybe they might be agnostic or deists or something, but they're certainly no Jesus freaks.
Yeah.
his work is the basis for the classification system we still use today. Yeah, later, Charles Darwin sketched a diagram to show how life started simple and then branched out to every creature on Earth. He said the different branches represent the different levels of classification. A tree of life, if you will.
Oh, yeah. I keep seeing this over and over again in our textbooks.
Really?
Yeah. Here we go. Check out this one.
Are researchers still trying to figure out how it happened?
There are a lot more of these diagrams. I think they change as different researchers group them based on different features.
Oh, stop.
Go ahead.
Okay, so she's first of all coming, they change all the time as if that's a bad thing. No, science is supposed to fucking change when we learn information. But she's also making it sound like, the scientists are just making shit up as they go along. It's like, oh, well, yeah, they change stuff all the time, and who knows what's real.
Well, she also said specifically that, different scientists group it different ways. No, they don't.
Yeah, no, they don't.
Reptiles are reptiles.
That's right.
Groups of organisms they believe share a common ancestor.
Yeah, a group like that is called a clade, and these diagrams are called cladograms. Man, and I thought organizing my makeup was hard.
So do they. Well, not your makeup. Classifying animals.
Okay, so remember that modern evolutionary classification is a rapidly changing science with a difficult goal: to present all life on a single evolutionary tree. As evolutionary biologists study relationships among taxa, they regularly change not only the way organisms are grouped, but also sometimes the name of groups.
No, it's not right. Where are you getting this textbook from?
Probably Answers in fucking Genesis. Or Texas, at least.
I mean, the group thing, but I don't think they don't change the names of the groups.
I don't think so either. And she's like, oh, look, they changed things. And this whole idea that trying to fit it on an evolutionary tree seems like it's a bad thing, which it's not. And the other thing they need to realize is that these cladograms, which are what she was showing, the tree-like structures, that's not the end product. Okay, that is sort of the what they're working through to hopefully arrive at the end product someday, which is the big tree of life.
Yeah, I actually had a thing response to that, to what she's about to say.
Remember that cladograms are visual presentations of hypotheses about relationships and not hard and fast facts.
Whoa. You're saying our textbooks say that cladograms are based off hypotheses, not facts.
Well, yes and no. That is true, but it's a hypothesis about the relationships to organisms in a way that predicts properties of the organisms. It helps with predictions to where we may find like the next fossil or something.
Right. And actually, we've been really good with that. Like Tiktaalik, they kind of figured, it's based on what we've learned, we should find something transitionary in this area of the world. And lo and behold, they did.
Yeah.
It's very good for predictions.
I'll show you why. Flip forward a page. That's because they only have living animals or fossils for certain places on the branches. These are real animals or fossils we've actually discovered. But these branching points are just imaginary lines that represent the hypotheses about which animals evolved from a common ancestor. No facts support them that can't also support different links, or no links. The transitional fossils they represent have never been found.
Okay, stop.
No, stop. Every animal is a transitional.
Exactly. Everything's fucking transitional.
Everything in this day is transitional.
And she's making it sound like, well, first of all, she obviously has no clue how rare fossilization actually is. An organism has to die in very, very specific circumstances for a fossil to form. Like it's a very small chance that you're going to get a fossil out of any animal. So to be, look, we don't have fossils for all of these little parts and she's making it sound like scientists are just pulling links out of their ass and be like, you know what? It'd be really cool if this animal and this animal had a common ancestor, so let's pretend they did.
Yeah.
Fucking hell.
Well, we'd see their pictures here, right? Though evolutionists point to a few examples, there should be thousands.
There are.
Oh my God. Instead, though God created great sea creatures and every living thing that moves, with which the waters abounded, according to their kind, and every winged bird according to its kind. And God saw that it was good.
Okay.
Okay, hang on. What the fuck is a kind?
Kind is not a scientific term. How many times do we need to say this?
Oh, and I have never met a creationist that could ever tell me what the fuck a kind is.
Well, they don't need to. Again, when dealing with science, kind is not a scientific term. Even
Yeah.
people who don't deal with biology will tell you that.
God created fully formed kinds of animals. So it isn't a tree like Darwin thought. Instead, it's an orchard.
Citation needed, please.
Yeah.
God created the different kinds of animals, and then they expressed all types of amazing variety as they bred within their kind.
And recombining genetic possibilities that God packed into the original kinds produced that variety?
Exactly. We see variation happening all the time, but we've never seen the evolutionary process of mutations and selection creating new kinds.
Yes,
So-
we do.
Yeah.
No, there was a species that I just looked up, and I cannot remember the name of it. But
Okay.
they exist, I think, in Asia somewhere, and they are literally. I think they but their environment is like in the mud. Damn it, I cannot remember that. It's
Well,
fucking
the one that I always think of is the idea that something like a whale could turn into a bear. And the way that goes is, or sorry, this is the other way around. So a bear type of creature goes in, finds itself in a very watery area. And so it sort of ends up having to swim and eats a lot of marine life. And over many years, it adapts to that aquatic place. So it's not necessarily going to need all the fur. It's not going to need the claws. It's the body's going to change shape. And, and I mean, I don't know that anything like a bear ever did turn into a whale, but a large mammal, and a whale's a large mammal. And that's how you could conceivably get something like that. It's not.
Well, like alligators, for example.
Yes.
They're both aquatic and land creatures. That's in transition thing.
Yeah.
Dogs, apes, and people can show variety, but can never morph into a new kind.
Yep, just like the orchard. One basic
Right.
never become another.
No.
Scientists seem to know species, even if there's only a minor change. And in the fossils, the smallest variation is classified as a different species, even though we see lots of variety with some species today.
Like what?
Like in dogs. Just think about all the variety in the breeds of dog kinds, Canis familiaris, in the last 200 years. If future paleontology...
Okay, first of all, most of the species of dogs that we have came from our interference.
That was not natural selection. That's almost as bad as Ray Comfort and the banana right there.
Yeah, I mean, we wouldn't have as many species as dog we have today if it wasn't for human interference.
Exactly.
Of a bulldog, a chihuahua, and a Great Dane, they would surely classify them as 3 different species.
Oh,
But
fuck you.
Yeah.
I think they'd be able to tell that they were all part of the same family.
Yeah. They're all part
They're
of
not going to be like, they're like, wow, that thing over there must be some rodent because it's so small, and that thing over there must be, I don't know, some kind of a pony.
Yeah, I mean, like, they may have individual names, but they're still part of the same fucking family.
Exactly.
The same kind. Whether beaks of a finch change shape or a color of a moth, the changes are limited.
When it's just expressing variety within the created kind.
Yep, so evolutionists consider adjustments to existing traits evidence that evolution made those traits in the first place.
They did.
Okay, but what she's saying is that, so something like one bird having a smaller beak than another bird, evolutionist is going to say that's a whole other species, and they're so stupid because that's not true. Like,
Well, no, that evolution does create small kinds. I mean, look at the bird that's in front of us right now. I'm sure it
Yeah, it's a
evolved.
owl.
Yeah,
It's
an
an
owl.
owl, and it's gonna be. And look at the color. It's adapted its color to suit that environment. I don't know if
From predators.
are you familiar with the peppered moth story at all?
I'm not. Why don't you
So
explain
the
to me?
Yeah, the peppered moth was a moth that looked like salt and pepper, kind of, and it looked that way because of the environment that it was in. Now, the specifics of the changes elude me at the moment, but something in that environment changed, and the peppered moth started to come out looking completely different. They weren't peppered anymore. They weren't spotted. And so they became looking completely different, but it was the same moth. And then I'm trying to think, it was something to do with the industrial
Revolution.
trends in, yeah, it was something to do with the trends in that area, so that whatever it was that made the peppered moth peppered started to come back, and suddenly the solid colored moths started to disappear and the peppered ones came back.
Yeah. Huh.
And
Interesting.
it is. I have to look up more details on that, but it's a fascinating story.
Yeah.
What if God made each basic kind with potential to change some of its traits, but no potential to morph into a different kind?
Okay, well, can you kind of give me the Bible verse for that? Because I've read Genesis fairly well, and I don't recall there being a verse saying God, will allow animals to change if they want. That wasn't in there.
Last I read, you had to get some sticks and have your goats breed in front of them if you wanted striped goats.
Yeah.
Dogs can breed with coyotes, and coyotes can breed with wolves. They call the coy wolf. So they must all be part of the same created kind. So they have a common ancestor, but it was the original dog kind that God created, not the transition between a reptile and a mammal like they show in these textbooks.
Okay, wrong. Mammals, reptiles, and birds all, pardon me if I'm fucking up the word, tetrapods, which means they have 4 appendages. The only reptile that is not a tetrapod is the fucking snake. But other than that, they're all tetrapods. I believe most, if not all of them have, again, besides the snake, have claws.
Yep.
With fingertips. So that's not just a coincidence. I mean, you may think it's a coincidence, but the rest of us smart people don't. Heretic woman, you got anything more to add?
I think you summed that up rather well.
Oh, thank you.
She's a twit.
So fossils, the classification of animals, and the Bible are all in harmony.
No.
That's what it looks like.
No.
No. God,
it
no.
looks like that through your God goggles.
No, well, I mean, I'll give these two credit because I honestly think that these two are just actors for Ken Ham. I don't think they actually believe this. I'm hoping they don't believe this. I think they're just paid actors.
Let's hope not.
Either
that or she's been sniffing too much of that nail polish.
Yeah. So I'm just hoping they're like really desperate actors. That's what I'm hoping for.
Well, that gives me an idea. What if we organize your makeup by kind?
Okay, well, that's again, nothing else more to say. Well,
and again, they keep using kind and species interchangeably, and like you said, a kind is not even a scientific term. Like when we keep asking these creationists, okay, what the fuck is a kind? Oh, well, it's like a species. Well, no, a species is a species, dickwad.
Yeah. Like that blonde woman said in the video, she's like, oh, well, it's the original dog kind that God created. I'm like, that's not very specific. When it comes when it comes to that kind of stuff, you need like fucking specifics.
I just out of curiosity, I wonder how many different species of canine there are.
Last I checked, I think maybe 150.
But there's, so I'm talking about there's wolves, there's a gray wolf and an Arabian wolf, according to the Googles, that are different. An Arctic wolf is different. A coyote, a jackal, and a dingo.
Yeah.
And then there's something called a dahole or dahole, and a red fox. Like all of these things, but a jackal doesn't look anything like your average dog.
No, it does not.
And a dingo kind of looks like a dog, but as we know, they eat babies. Maybe they're atheist dogs. The Arabian wolf looks like a really muscular, skinny thing. Like it's just, yeah, a jackal. Well, if you know anything about Egyptian mythology, Anubis, that's the jackal-headed god. So that's the shape of what a jackal looks like, but they're not black like that either. There's picture one here. It looks kind of
well, actually, I just typed in Google how many species of canines are there. It says the species Canis lupus covers a lot of dogs. There are 39 subspecies, one of them being all domesticated dog breeds. 37 of these subspecies are wolves, the largest and the most common being the Eurasian gray wolf, the most common ancestor of the domesticated dog breeds.
But like a wolf, I could be wrong, but I don't think a wolf can breed with a fox.
No.
Pretty sure that doesn't work. And then we've got something like there's different types of foxes. There's oh gosh, a raccoon dog. I've never seen one of those before. That's interesting. It says it's neither a wolf or a fox. That sounds kind of transitional, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, definitely. Well,
and it's not a raccoon either. It just has mask-looking face.
Well, I always usually give a closing statement. So, would you like to give a closing statement in regards to the video?
Okay. Evolution is not evil. Evolution doesn't actually contradict anything from a deistic kind of God, if you want to believe in that kind of thing. And it has nothing to do with the origin of life. So anybody out there who's like, well, evolution can't be true because we know God created blah, blah, blah. It has nothing to do with creating anything. It's about change over time. How do we get from point A to point B, and what are the possible stages in between? So knock that shit about creation right out of your head, because evolution doesn't even speak to where life comes from.
Yes,
that's
but
one of my biggest pet peeves.
Yes, but heretic woman, the question you need to ask yourself is: have you ever seen a canine become a non-canine?
No.
Just a G-Man joke. Anyway.
It's just a G-Man joke. Yeah. Well, I did see some alpacas humping each other on Thursday at a zoo.
Nice.
Just for fun. Yeah.
Well, my closing statement is if you believe that the Earth is 10,000 years old, that we are created, I'm just going to be blunt, and this may be my Asperger's talking about, you're just fucking stupid. We know that the Earth is not 10,000 years old. We know that we're not created. And by the way, even if we are created, God or whatever created us should be fucking fired, because we are designed very shittily.
Yes.
And that's pretty much it. You got anything else more to add there, Heretic Woman?
I did, and it went right out of my head. Damn it.
Oh, well. Well, this has been our response to Genesis Apologetics. Hopefully expect me to see...
Oh. I know what I was going to say. One of my favorite quotes, when Richard Dawkins went to, it was a school near Liberty University, and all the Liberty University people came over, and one of them said, our school has a dinosaur bone that's 3,000 years old. What do you say to that? And he said, if you go to a school that has a 3,000-year-old dinosaur bone, you need to go find a better school.
Exactly. Well, that's it for us. I might make other response videos to these idiots in the future, but I may have to read up on some more science. Y'all have a wonderful night.